Good evening, Nation's Corner family, friends and fans. John in South Jersey here. Yeah, that's right. We live. It's Saturday, and we all know what that means.
Yes, we do.
Joining me tonight, as usual, the Debhausen, the great and powerful. And
Yes.
joining us, as you see, Mr. Clutch. When we need the pinch hitter off the bench, when we need that walk-off home run, this man, Wild Thing music and all comes up, and one swing of the bat changes the whole game. You can hear him every Tuesday on our Nation Sports Show right here on the Nation's Corner YouTube channel, and he joins us tonight to talk a little wrestling. Always welcome to have one, Mr. Stephen Wyand. What's up, Steve?
What is going on, guys? Yes, I'm out of the bullpen, ready to rock and roll, put the pedal to the metal, talk a little professional wrestling. Now, let's do it, guys.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I don't know, Deb. We're off the rails tonight already. We are unsupervised as usual. Suck it, front row. You ain't here to stop us. We can do whatever the heck we want.
When front row's on vacation, the children will.
Yes, and we are our children, but we're all your children, Deb. So, as Deb is fond of saying, much like Thunder Rosa, I work with children. Yes, you do, but we're your children. She says a few other things, too, that aren't quite as family friendly, but we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Real quick, I just want to touch on some new content that you may or may not have noticed here on the Nation's Corner channel the last couple of days. I am doing a series of interviews with talent that are coming into the area here, my area, near the South Jersey / Philadelphia area for WrestleMania week. And we've been doing a little bit of a sit-down interview, spotlighting some of these talents so far. We've had the American Kaiju, Lindsay Snow, and we just had another one premiere today where I sat down with 1CW Wrestling's Hand of the Ranch, Sean Carlson, Ranch Hand Carlson, for an interview as well. And they are both on our channel here. So when you're done with us, stay a while, click on them and watch and get to know some of these wrestlers that are coming into the area for Mania Week. And we have a few more, a little bit of a spoiler. It's not a prediction, but a spoiler. A few more in the queue. And we're going to be getting to them as well as we lead up to Mania. But anywho, I don't know, Deb. I guess we're gonna have to really go into our bag of tricks to figure out what in the hell are we going to talk about in pro wrestling this week. I mean, the barren wasteland that is wrestling right now. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we're gonna. But
first,
let's try.
Yes,
that's say. So we had talked about it before, but our very own Mongrovian Mike finally went into surgery yesterday after having it delayed like several times.
Yes.
So he'll be out of commission for a little bit, but he'll be back before you know it. And I guess everything went well.
Mm-hmm.
So good luck to him.
On scene reports, courtesy of Mike's wonderful wife Jackie and our very own Scott from Long Island coming through, showing why once again he is the man. Went and saw Mike yesterday at the hospital post surgery and brought him a nice little care package from all of us at Nation's Corner. And spent some time with him, said everything went well with the surgery. He is on the mend and hopefully will be out in another day or two and driving Jackie crazy as usual. And we can't wait. And
I'm sure he is driving Jackie very crazy.
Yes, and Elder, when you get out of commission and when you're finally home, put on that brand spanking new Judas Priest record, Invincible Shield, that dropped yesterday.
Yes.
Fantastic.
I can now say, before we get into wrestling, we will get into it. I can now say that I have listened to a Judas Priest album before Mongrovian.
That's a Twitter headline. That's a Twitter header right there.
I listened to it twice yesterday, once before Busted Open, and then again after Busted Open. And it is a fantastic album.
The first three songs are long. I mean, Panic Attack, The Serpent and the King, and the title track, Invincible Shield, right out the gate. just punch you right in the face with a brutal assault of pure old school heavy metal.
Very
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
Very
Very
cool.
good.
And Deb, even though the
just,
poor old man is laying in the hospital bed with the stitches and incisions, you still wanted to text him, "Suck it, old man." I listened to it before you did, Mr. Metalhead, Mr. The only music that matters ever in the history of time. And we do know he's 1,066 years old, so he really knows from the history of time for music that the only thing that matters is metal. That's what I would have did. I'd be like, "Oh man, one time." Anyway, I have one more other quick shout out before we get into the wrestling talk as well. In some typical white girl shit, someone in our group has a birthday coming up, but no, they're deciding to celebrate it early. Because I'm home and it's like birthday whatever week. I don't know what them white girls how they do it, but apparently it's made its way all the way down to Texas because Tony Justice is. Oh, I can't do that. I'm celebrating my birthday. Dude, your birthday is a couple day. Like, how about
next
celebrate
Thursday?
Next day, yeah. Thank you, Deb. Like, how about on your birthday? Really, the big bad truck driver, greatest truck driver in the world. Really, you're doing this white girl bullshit? Wait.
What are you gonna do?
Wait. Anyway,
what are you gonna do?
And that's that. There's nothing we can do about it.
There's nothing we can do about it. Yeah.
Happy early birthday, brother.
Yeah. You'll get your wishes on your birthday, not a day before, not a day after. And while you're at it, get me a double Diablo sandwich and a Dr. Pepper and make it fast. I'm in a goddamn hurry. But all right, what I want to
let's get into the wrestling.
Yeah, where I want to start first, and since I finally have figured some things out, we have visual aids. I want to talk about this. Da-da-da-da-da. The slap. What the five fingers say, heard around the world last night on SmackDown. And thank you, even though I just busted his balls, thank you, Tony Justice, for this particular graphic that we're using. But we got a bit of, Cody paid back the slap. I mean, hey, you talk shit on somebody's dog, and a lot of us are dog owners, and if that was my dog, yeah, absolutely. I don't care you're The Rock. I don't care if you're the biggest star on the planet, dude. You're going to get some comeuppance. And again, we are getting so much out of this now with The Rock and now the Bloodline and Cody and Seth now. And it just seems like, and what I absolutely love about all of this truly is we can sit and fantasy book, hypothesize, they own it. We don't know shit about what's going on. And still, and then I can't remember in recent memory anyway. I'll go, not that my memory is really recent in any way or shape or form, but I'll say probably in the last at least 5 years or so that we are this deep into the road to WrestleMania with, yes, we have matches and we kind of see what some things are, but quite honestly, we have no idea what exactly we're going to see night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's true. And people got some wild and crazy theories out there.
Sure, listen to Busted Open. They could dial a telephone.
Seriously.
Yes.
Yeah, for real. Everybody's got their own crazy theories about what they think is going to happen, who's going to turn on who, and, all that stuff. I just want to point out, I was just scrolling through my Facebook memories a little bit before we got on here. 8 years ago today on Facebook, I shared this meme that says, my greatest fear is that kids will grow up not knowing Dwayne Johnson's real name is The Rock. So I posted that. Well, they damn sure know it now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Damn sure know what his name is now.
Well, on one hand, Deb, way to go, Nostradamus, because apparently that did not come true. So, maybe rethink that. But 8 years from now, maybe we'll come. Will come off. Sorry, for those that are wondering, yes, That is the Briscoe Brothers entrance theme. Yes, it is my ringtone when people call. And
Turn your phone off when we're doing
how am I going to get the Chad Butt dial in the middle of the show if I have my ringer off and I don't hear it?
Turn your phone silent.
It's not a big deal. Anywho.
Turn the fucking phone
I'm
off.
just kidding.
Right now, damn it.
Oh my god.
Fine. Let me go.
Anyway.
There you go. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah,
This will
talk
take a
amongst
second.
yourselves. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think so. Last night on SmackDown, we got some more, pharaohs, whatever he called them, blah blah blah. Yeah, you don't mess with a man's dog.
No.
I think it honestly really tickles me that out of all this, the fans have gotten most pissed off about what The Rock said about Cody's dog than anything else. Like, of all the stuff The Rock has said the past couple of weeks, they've gotten the most pissed off.
Oh yeah,
about
because
the comments
Pharaoh's
on his
awesome.
dog.
Everybody loves Pharaoh.
Everybody loves Pharaoh, yes. Yeah, you don't talk about a man's dog. He had that slap coming. We knew it had to happen since, The Rock slapped Cody. We knew he had to get his comeuppance. There was going to come a point where Cody was going to snap back at him. And that was last night. And also, Seth grew a pair too.
He did.
Yes.
Seth grew a pair too. Cut him off and said, "Will you shut the hell up?"
He's like, "We get it. We know the stakes. Would you just please shut the hell up?" I was like, "This is fantastic." I mean, just back and forth, again, the players that are involved in this storyline, they know a thing or two about wrestling. And when you got professionals in that ring, and Cody and Seth and Rock and Roman, and you got Heyman in the picture, I mean, and Solo there. I mean, it's incredible what they've been cooking up the last month and a half or two, within the story. And what's also funny is that slap by Cody. I think, if my math is correct, that was a month, literally, from when The Rock slapped him.
Really?
Okay.
All right.
So it's
that's why we have
interesting.
you. Even you pay attention to things like that, because I couldn't.
Yeah, you with your eidetic memory. Yesterday. I didn't know that.
I'm like, how fitting! 30 days, literally to the day of him getting slapped. Cody slaps him back. I mean, and he had it coming. He had another thing coming, and Cody got him.
Nice. See what you did there.
Yes.
And again, we've been talking about this, as and the bloodline in general, as its layers and little things they've been doing throughout the entire run of this story and everything. Case in point, last night, bloodlines all in the ring. They hit Cody's music. They're all looking up at the entrance in the tie-in. And looking, where is he? He's gonna come out. We're gonna get the fire. Here's Cody Rhodes coming through the stands, coming out through the crowd.
Yeah. What's funny? This week on AEW, the Bucks did the Cody entrance. And then a few days later, Cody does the Shield entrance. How great is that?
Yes, him and Seth. Here's him and Seth coming down again. Just another little aha. A little, one of them little Easter eggs. I want an Easter egg. That that they've been doing with these. That it's again, this is just incredible storytelling. That and is the addition of The Rock add to it? Absolutely. But I still, up until, and it's not like, they started this because The Rock came back in and he's a shareholder now on the board of directors. But no, we've had this for 3 years.
Around.
He keeps throwing that around.
Again on SmackDown last night.
He is blurring that line.
Yeah.
He is blurring that line. And again, I'm here for it. I am absolutely here for it. We saw The Rock's, new entrance. It's not, if you smell it, no, this is a whole new. It's a new graphic package, and even without sleeves, he's walking out in a $5,000 shirt, and it's just these layers upon layers, and it's just so much. You literally almost have to watch it and then rewatch it to get everything or get as much as you think you got out of it. But
so I just want to point out, Vigo in the chat says The Rock is the new evil boss. I completely agree. I think I remember saying it a couple weeks ago, or even, more than that, maybe a few weeks ago, that I felt like The Rock was kind of filling that Mr. McMahon role. But not the way that Vince, played that role, but just the sense of he's the evil boss. He's the man that's coming out and saying, I'm your boss. You have to do what I say.
Very.
I just love how they're leaning into this. They know that we're not stupid. I mean, they know that we know that The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is on the board of directors. We know that he is a part of the WWE. He's not just a part-timer, folks. He is forever a part of the WWE, for now and forever.
Right.
Because with him being on the board.
Right.
Exactly. And yes, we're seeing already that intermingling, and let's face it. Okay, is The Rock set for an in-ring, return, in-ring career or anything? No, not at this point. And to be honest, I don't think he absolutely really needs to, unless it is something like WrestleMania, something that is absolutely has that, specialness to it about it. But again, like Steven said, he's part of the WWE. He's on the board of directors. He's not going anywhere. He doesn't, he's not. They can weave in and out of this whole storyline, especially with him and stuff, anytime they want for the rest of the time, to be honest. And and I'm not stupid. You stupid. Don't call me.
Yeah.
I'm nice.
So you said about layers upon layers upon layers, and Front Row talks all the time about this concept of new kayfabe, that there still is kayfabe in a sense. It's just kind of different than what it used to be, and kind of morphed into this different thing because of social media and because we're very much aware of who these people are outside of the ring, and that everybody knows that they're playing characters. Another thing along those lines, which I find really interesting, is The Rock is coming out on WWE TV calling people crackheads and blah blah blah.
Right.
But
at the same time, he's maintaining this public image as a business person. Earlier this afternoon on his Instagram, he posted a snapshot from a new GQ article about him. I guess today he launched a new skincare line, like skincare and hair care products. It's hilarious to me. The man.
Wait a minute, hair care. Wait a minute. Dwayne Johnson.
The man hasn't had hair in 20 years, but he has hair care products.
That sounds a little sketchy. I don't know if I'm going to take hair care products from a bald guy.
So the title of the article, the headline that is on this picture that The Rock posted on Instagram, says Dwayne Johnson's brand new skincare line, Papa Tui, is as likable as he is. So
very interesting.
That's a whole other layer about he's got this public image that he's a very likable person. He still does interviews on things where he's the Dwayne Johnson that we've seen the last few years or so, that he is so likable and seemingly so down to earth. We saw it on Young Rock,
right?
But he's on WWE TV every week. With this whole other character. And I find that very fascinating, and he's able to keep that separate. Like there's no campaign out there, in mainstream media is talking about, oh, Dwayne Johnson's a bad person. He called people crackheads and meth heads.
And he's talking shit about the Mormons in Utah. And
everywhere he goes.
At this point, I feel like it's very much understood that it's a character.
Right.
It's a TV show.
Yes.
But it adds all these different layers that kind of make up this idea of new kayfabe. Mm-hmm. It's interesting to me.
Absolutely. And like even like Becky Lynch said, she has to explain to her daughter why Daddy wants to fight Maui. You know, you can see that, and the way he's able to do this, and you know, it's all with kind of a wink and a nod, but we're just as compelled, especially on the wrestling side, of what everything he's doing, and his involvement in this, and you know, and again, it's absolutely must watch every Monday, every Friday from now until WrestleMania is absolutely,
and after that watch. And not just until even, WrestleMania,
right?
Because I have a feeling that, you know, once WrestleMania comes, it's going to be a whole other chapter.
Yes, post WrestleMania is going to be very, very interesting already, just from what we're seeing leading into WrestleMania. But enough about that. We all heard the slap. Everybody watched the memes. You can see the clips of it. Let's switch gears a little and talk about AEW. That, again, they just had Revolution this past Sunday night. And, yes, it's kind of been beat to death. Yeah, we know. Darby fell off the big ladder, shattered the glass. People, and I have a public service message slash soapbox real quick. And I'm going to be very quick about this. You effing pussies in the front row of wrestling matches. It's an effing wrestling match. Don't tell me, oh, I could have been injured by breaking a shut your effing mouth. I survived the ECW arena. Meaning I could at any time have bodies, chairs, tables, bodily fluids of all kinds hurled at me, and nobody ever said a word, except the one time the guy got burned by Terry Funk, and it was the guy's own effing fault. So shut up. Oh, well, they should have used this. Shut up and enjoy the show. If you don't pay $1,000 for front row tickets. Pay $100 with the rest of us and sit a couple rows back. Problem solved. You don't have to, you know, but if you're going to, it's almost like you go to a rodeo and one of the bulls freaks out and breaks through one of the barriers or gets up and you're going to blame the bull. Shut up. Stay home and watch it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Rant over. PSA over. But
okay. So kind of along those lines, to follow up on that, I know that there's a lot of people, you know, there over the years, there has been more concern over the wrestler's safety, you know, with concussions and all that, but all sorts of things. Sure. There's been more awareness of wrestler safety. However, if the wrestlers want to do it, the wrestlers want to do it.
Yeah.
And like, you know, they have chosen, you know, we hear bullies say all the time, this is the business that we've chosen.
Yeah.
You know, they have chosen a profession that entails them putting their bodies on the line. And as fans, we're very thankful for that. Like, I'm thankful that they're willing to put their bodies on the line. But if Darby wanted to jump through some glass, you know, let him jump through some glass.
And just a quick note on that, Deb, if you all are losing your minds about Darby diving off a ladder into plate glass and everything, obviously you never saw his work in Evolve and Defy, because and just what he does just on a random Tuesday for stuff he does, not even pertaining to wrestling. You know, this is a guy, you know, and I'm not saying that he doesn't take risks, and could he be reckless or whatever with his body? Sure, but it's what he does, and it's what he chooses to do as part of his performance. And, you know, for people to say, oh, well, you know, and do I think, you know, we all know Tony Khan is a lot of things, but a fan he is. Does Tony Khan want to see Darby dive off a 14-foot ladder in the glass? Absolutely, just the same as the rest of us. So
knowing Darby,
yeah.
what else would you expect from the guy? I mean, he is that batshit crazy. Like, he is insane. He is willing to put his body on the line to entertain us wrestling fans all over the world. And
he's
I gotta
this
commend
generation's
him.
Jeff Hardy, just without the drugs and alcohol.
Right. And
unbelievable.
And I'm sorry. And one real quick last point on this. Everybody's losing. Oh my God, he has no regard for himself or anybody else. He's diving off a ladder in the plate glass. The dude is about to go climb Mount Everest.
Yes.
Okay. Let me remind you folks, everyone dead on Mount Everest was a highly motivated individual, and they still died. This isn't a work. This isn't a shoot. This guy is legitimately going to do something that inherently is very dangerous. And a lot and death or severe injury or whatever is very possible. So if you're freaking out over him going off a ladder through a piece of glass, you might as well just abandon his social media, because you're going to be seeing updates and stuff from him climbing a mountain that not too many people have, and a lot have died trying to do. But
and if you're someone who's a little queasy about watching, people, do dangerous stuff, maybe pro wrestling's not the sport for you then. Maybe go, watch something like golf where, there's no physical body contact. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Discord server.
All right, moving on.
Yes. Also coming out of Evolution, absolutely my favorite match of the night, my opinion, Takeshita and Will Ospreay.
Holy hell. What a match.
Yes.
They beat the piss out of each other. It was unbelievable. I mean, if you love strong style Japanese wrestling matches, this was the match for you. I mean,
for sure.
Takeshita and Ospreay absolutely gave it 110% in that ring, and just the athleticism by Ospreay was just on full display in his first full match as a member of the AEW roster. And I agree with Matt Kuhn on Twitter when he said, I think Ospreay will be fine here in America. Yeah, I think he'll do just quite fine because he fits with the roster, and I think it's about damn time that his talents get shown here in America, how he is one of the greatest professional wrestlers to walk this planet.
Completely agree. And I think he just keeps getting better and better. Like, from the time I had first heard of him, probably during the pandemic was when I first became aware of him. Every time I see him, he just continually gets better and better and better. And I'm really, really excited that he's in AEW right now for the mainstream American audience to be able to see him.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to point out why it was my favorite match of the night, for all the things both you and Steven said, was that it's exactly what they did. They played to both of their strengths. These are guys that are well-versed in school in Japanese strong style wrestling, having both worked extensively in Japan before coming to the US. And that's exactly what they did. They didn't water it down or anything for American TV. Those guys went out and had a legit strong style battle that you would see at any Japanese wrestling show, and it was absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
Staying with AEW and New Japan talent making a debut, and another little segue, Nicholas and Matthew Jackson, the EVPs. Jesus, they how bad are they selling this now? It's not the BTE trigger anymore. It's the EVP trigger. And I think we're seeing the beginning and the development of probably the best run of the Bucks that we have seen ever. This is they've hinted at it in the past. They've done some things here and there, but this is everybody that said, oh, the Bucks can't. Guess what? this is the beginning of the full-on heel Bucks run.
Yes.
Period. And the thing, and they're going after various things, and as we talked about, like with The Rock blurring the lines between, you know, office and performer, you know, they announced themselves, we are the EVPs, you know, and they're doing it in a way I really like off the bat. Their promo from Wednesday night, they suspend Hangman from the Elite and from AEW because he, I mean, rightfully so. And I still applaud Hangman for doing it because they deserve it. He beat up a AEW referee in his match, and I get you can't do that. then, and I saw Twitter and social media afterwards. Ooh, they committed sacrilege. Oh, they fired Kenny Omega from the Elites. How dare you, Jackson Brothers? Oh my, dude, Kenny, poor Kenny, who is dealing with real life serious medical issues and can't return or Twitter especially lost its effing mind. How could you? How dare you attack the Omega Man? You got, you know, and then everybody thought that's what their big announcement. But oh no, wait, hold up. There's more.
Hold up.
We hear the coins drop. And for those who weren't familiar, and pretty much everybody was, the coins drop means one thing. Kazuchika Okada is now all Elite. And we're going to see, again, a very different version of this, because now, seemingly, with his alignment with the EVPs, we are going to see a heel Okada, which is a very new experience for any wrestling fan, because he does not have a history of, you know, prolonged heel work, especially in New Japan or anywhere else he's worked. This guy has always been a babyface, and Bully pointed out, are we ready to hate Okada? Because I think, you know, I have mixed feelings on it, but what do you guys think?
I also have a little bit of mixed feelings about it. You know, I'm not as big with New Japan as like you or Neil. You know, I don't watch it on a regular basis. I try to kind of keep tabs on generally what's happening, just because you see it on social media and stuff. So obviously I know of him. I know he's amazing. I've seen some matches from Wrestle Kingdom and all that and blah, blah, blah. So I don't necessarily know him as this, you know, massive historic babyface. I do have mixed feelings because I'm not like, I don't want to boo him. I'm excited that he's in AEW. You know, this is what we've wanted. It's awesome. But I do kind of have somewhat of the confidence that I do think that somehow, some way, with how much the Bucks are being so douchey right now, they are going to kind of help bring Okada into that. And somehow, some way, we are going to end up being like, why is Okada acting like that? What the fuck is he doing?
Right.
Yeah, because the minute he debuted in AEW and you heard the coins drop, the crowd lost their minds and on their feet and going crazy. And then here he goes attacking Eddie Kingston. And I'm like, oh, what are you like? What? I was a little confused, but I mean, he doesn't have a full, you know, repertoire of being a heel all the time. But I mean, he probably wanted to do something different. So, I mean, you know, I have confidence in him that he can get it done, because he is a professional. And when you got the Bucks and what Nicholas and Matthew Jackson are doing right now, like, they are such assholes, and they can turn Okada into an even bigger asshole, you know. And it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, they're certainly.
I think they can help him become that arrogant asshole.
Yeah,
like he's great, and he knows that he's great.
Yeah, and right off the bat, they're doing that, putting him against the biggest, you know, underdog in AEW in Eddie Kingston. It's a great first matchup because he doesn't really have history with anybody per se in AEW. It's not like Adam Copeland and Christian, so to say. So they're doing something to try to build or at least start off with something. And another thing, they better make it work because there are 13.5 million reasons why it better work. And what do I mean by that? Exactly, Deb. 13.5 million over 3 years is the signing price for Kazuchika Okada to join AEW. That is big money.
Tony Khan made it rain.
Yes, he did.
And that's also, no pun intended, big business.
Well, we're going to find out more. We're going to talk more about that next week after it happens.
Yes.
But we can all see the writing on the wall for that, and that'll be for another topic. But I'm really liking this newer thing with the addition of Jen Pepperman to the creative staff. AEW finally, we have gotten banger match after banger match, but our complaint has always been there's no stories to AEW. And slowly but surely, we're starting to see that in AEW more consistently and nowhere else more than that. And I hope it's a trend that really continues to develop. And that is with the AEW women's division.
Yes.
And all of us being the fans of women's wrestling that we are, my first thought is about effing time. And the second thing is you've given us some already. Please give us more. Tony Storm by far is the most entertaining thing on AEW programming ever. Just the way she is this kind of character is unbelievable. And think it's
you're freezing there you're freezing,
John.
I'm freezing?
Yes. Yeah, all of a sudden.
Huh.
But now you're fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right. I completely agree with you. Yeah, Toni Storm, the evolution of her character, it's been a while. It's been a while since, there was the initial hints that she was kind of going cuckoo. They did the thing with RJ City with the little the pre-taped interviews with RJ City. Then she fully went into this, timeless Toni Storm character. And it's been really, really great to see the evolution of this character. It is one of the best things that we look forward to every week on AEW.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even more so now, we're seeing it start to permeate throughout the women's division. We have this burgeoning story with Ruby Soho and Saraya.
Yes, and that's been a slow burn as well.
Yes.
If anybody's been paying attention, even going back to the Outcast faction, it's been a slow burn kind of with the hint of the conflict between Ruby and Saraya and the weird kind of hints that Cool Hand Ange was kind of flirting with Ruby, and that happened for a little bit. So it's been a slow burn to get to this point, but that's really kicked into high gear, this past week or so since they attacked Cool Hand Ange. They seem to be an official couple now. So then we saw the backstage last night on Rampage that Ruby basically called out Saraya.
Yeah.
And, said, I'm sick of your shit.
Yeah.
It's about to go down.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And we're starting to see more things of it because the Outcast kind of really fizzled out, especially after Toni Storm went on her own. Not that it really went anywhere to begin with, but and this whole thing.
But I feel like they found good ways to rebound. They found good ways since that faction and what they were doing kind of fizzled out. They have figured out ways to kind of rebound and figure out what to do with each of these characters.
Right. and and we're seeing now, you have the addition of Harley Cameron with Saraya now, and her, and this isn't kayfabe, that's her real life brother. That's Zach Zodiac or Zach Knight. That's their real life brother. That's a great way to bring him in. Long overdue for him to be on American television lately. Finally. But that's great. And dude, who doesn't love a good old fashioned wrestling love story?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Elizabeth the Macho Man.
Yes.
George the Animal Steel and the Mind Doll.
Yes.
The greatest wrestling love story ever told, and I'm a bit of a homer on this, but GFY, I don't care. The greatest wrestling love story ever told, Tommy Dreamer and Beulah McGillicuddy. Everybody loves a good wrestling love story. The star-crossed lovers, the two different factions. It's basically just a reiteration of Romeo and Juliet. And
hopefully it doesn't end the same.
Hopefully it doesn't. I mean, or
sidebar. I don't understand why people think Romeo and Juliet is this big romantic story. It's two 15-year-olds who destroyed an entire city and killed themselves.
Yes, and then I said, spoiler alert. Thanks, Deb. Thanks.
Spoiler alert. The story's only been around for like 500 years.
Yes.
Elder was around during that time.
He told me that. He saw the destruction they did in that town and everything. And then he goes, then they died. And I'm like, well, okay, now I don't have to read the book.
He walked over because he was like, what happened? Well, these two so-called lovers destroyed everything in sight.
Yeah, he was there, he said. He was there. He went to go buy bread. Yeah. I don't know exactly what that means. But,
anyway, wrestling love stories, we love it. And Ruby is so adorable. How cute is she?
And again, this is another one of them. We talk constantly about who's getting used and who's getting the push, who's getting time on AEW, and Ruby Soho absolutely has been one of those ones that besides that she's fantastic in the ring and always has been. She is creative. She can, she is proving that if she gives is given something that she can sink her teeth into a little, that she can, make it work and get it over. And I'm really curious to see how this continues to play out, who exactly becomes involved in it. Could we see, possibly an intergender tag match, Ruby and Cool Hand and Saraya and her brother?
Damn. I would really love to see Saraya and Zach Zodiac.
I think it would be. I think it would be very cool. I honestly think something like that would do something a little different for these stories that can. But again, AEW. It took a while. It took a long while, and they're not. I don't feel they're quite there yet, but
no,
they're making strides.
Yeah, and that's what we want. We just want to see little improvements here and there, consistent improvements, consistent stories. The momentum is building. Just keep it going. Just keep doing what you're doing. Stay in your lane. That's what we always say. Stay in your lane. You'll be good.
Yeah, because every product, has its highs and its lows, and every product has gone through growing pains or a rough spot. Because if a wrestling product was perfect all the time and then there was adversity hitting your company, you wouldn't know how to respond. But when you have good times, bad times, and all that type of stuff in between, what to do to get through the rough times in a company. The WWF during the mid 90s hit a midlife crisis basically when it comes to, and the attendance was low, and then they hit this upstride in 97, 98 when the Attitude Era ushered in, and then they were making bank, and then obviously AEW had this nice incredible start for the first couple of years, experiencing the highs of the highs, and then oh boy, when the lowest of lows came, yes, the numbers have been down. But if you get your group together, get your wrestlers together, gather all the leaders in the locker room, like the Jerichos of the world, and Bryan Danielson and Moxley and everybody around, but the youngsters, you can create something special. Because if these youngsters think that every company, when you go into a major company, thinks that, oh, we're going to experience great things. Yeah, but they're also going to tell these kids, look, you're going to experience some downtimes too, because not every company is perfect.
No, it's cyclical too. And, there's going to be ebbs and flows to it. There's going to be highs and lows. Some things are like in the Attitude Era, things just kind of clicked all around for a period of time. And then when that was over, there was a low, and it took quite a long time to really bring them back up to where, where they are now at another all-time high. It's cyclical. I'm optimistic. I'm the, power, positivity, all that crap. So I'm optimistic in that, they will come back better than ever.
And TNA went through the same stuff, because going from having some of the greatest matches in 10 plus years in TNA's history, and then they experienced rock bottom, and we were all thinking at that time, is this the end of Total Nonstop Action Wrestling? And then they had to rebrand to Impact Wrestling. And kudos to the roster, and kudos to Scott D'Amore, rallying the troops and believing in those guys and those gals. And he helped get the TNA, name back, really as far as the believability in the company, because for the past couple of years, TNA transitioning back into that namesake has really, really gotten really well. And if AEW and its talent looks at what TNA went through from having the highest of highs from, I would say, around 04 to around 2014, 15, and then they experienced those growing pains. If they can look at the blueprint, what they went through to go from the top to the bottom, near the brink of the bottom and losing it all, to rising like a phoenix from the ashes and coming out on the other side of this and better than ever, AEW can do the same thing if they stick together.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And we heard Eric Young on Busted Open, was that yesterday? And he came out with the perfect line. I think he said, the dead can't get any deader. There's there's always, and it reminded me of for Seinfeld lovers out there, you can't over dry, you can't over die.
Right.
That's right.
But real quick off of TNA, they had their pay-per-view Sacrifice last night on Triller Plus and their TNA Plus app and all that. And I just want to say, and it's very bittersweet, because everybody here in the Nation's Corner knows how I feel. Congratulations to new Knockouts Tag Team Champions, the Wild Child Jody Threat and Danny Luna, who knocked off probably my favorite TNA Knockout Tag Team, MK Ultra, Killer Kelly and Masha.
MK Ultra.
They make it move a little. I ain't going to lie about it. I'm not, but
I don't have anything to move, but
there's something about them too.
It still moves.
Those two, yes. But yeah, new Knockouts Tag Team Champions. Eric Young had his the match he won against Frankie Kazarian for a shot at Moose and the TNA title. Unsuccessful, but banger match. And still Knockouts world champion Jordan Grace took on Tasha Steelz and Xia Brookside again in another great match, but the Juggernaut prevails. It's on Triller TV, and this is besides all the great talent and everything that they have going on in TNA wrestling right now, folks. They run 4 major pay-per-views a year that are $40, but in between that, you get these smaller pay-per-views that are only 10. And they're even free if you sign up for the TNA Plus app.
Yes.
So, and you're getting a $40, $50 quality pay-per-view for $10.
Yeah.
And it does so much to keep their storylines going and then develop new ones coming out of them, especially with their TV tapings and schedule and stuff. And if you, and I know I preach about it all the time, if you're not at least checking out TNA wrestling, you're wrong. And you need to correct that.
We finally got Front Row to watch it.
Finally, yes.
After so many months of Front Row saying, "Yeah, I know, but there's only so many hours in the day to dedicate to wrestling." Blah blah blah.
Right.
He got hooked, and man, he went ahead and got that the year subscription for TNA Plus. I'm definitely gonna sign up for TNA Plus after WrestleMania, because until WrestleMania, I'm kind of saving every dollar I have.
Right.
But yeah, I think Front Row said it was only like $100 and some to pay for the whole year up front, and with that you get all the pay-per-views included.
Yeah, and I do
believe, God, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Exactly. And and I do believe they offer it as a monthly as well, and it's still reasonable. I think it's around $10 or $12,
something like that. Yeah, I think 10 a month.
And even that, and or you can actually, I'll tell you exactly what I do. I pay $1 whole a month for their TNA insiders. Thank you, Deb. At least somebody got them. For the TNA insiders, you can watch it every Thursday on YouTube, starting at 8:30. It's not live. You're getting kind of a tape delay because they are showing that they started at 8 on Access TV if you don't have Access TV. But
however, if you watch it on YouTube, you don't get the commercials.
Exactly.
I watch it on Access, and I get the commercials for, the ED pills and the children's charities and all that good stuff. If you watch it on YouTube, you don't get the commercials. So the show ends up ending just slightly earlier. Than your Access if you're watching it on Access, which is kind of interesting.
And no commercials. Save me the thing of trying to hit that fast forward button past commercials. I'm in. I'm absolutely in. So please, folks, check out, if you haven't, please check out TNA Wrestling. You're missing out on really good wrestling.
Yes.
And and even we've been talking about how hot wrestling in general is, and the rising tide raises all ships. Are you aware that the former Dolph Ziggler, the wanted man Nick Nemeth, is in TNA Wrestling? Did you know that? No, now you do.
Did you know?
If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. Yes. Thank you, Biggie. But still, they have a very, very talented roster of people over there.
Yes, best women's division in the industry, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. Yes. I'll put it against WWE's, and those are heavy hitters. And I would absolutely put TNA. And we even saw that in the Royal Rumble. For those of you who didn't recognize or notice, the TNA Knockouts champion, the aforementioned juggernaut Jordan Grace, was in the Royal Rumble. That's not really an accident, folks. Nope. WWE just isn't going to reach out to any organization and say, give us a person. And it kind of shows where TNA is at and what they've been building, especially post the Dixie Carter years and everything. And it's been a long struggle. Stephen was right. It's been about 10 years that they have been, slowly but surely clawing and scratching their way back to, being relevant, being prominent. And I hope it continues, even in the absence now of Scott D'Amore, which we still don't quite know why or how, but whatever. Business is business. And especially looking at the Sacrifice pay-per-view last night, the locker room has seemingly dealt with it and has lost zero steam on anything as far as their matches or their stories, and they're continuing right along the same trajectory, high arc that they've been on.
And and if you heard Eric Young on Busted Open, he said pretty much exactly that. He said, the piece of the puzzle is missing, but the rest of the puzzle's still there, and we're still going with the plan.
Yeah, there was a clip that's on, I believe, TNA's YouTube when they first announced that Scott D'Amore had been fired from TNA. They were doing a television tape or something. Eric Young came out with the locker room and then addressed the crowd and basically echoed the sentiments that he had said on Busted Open. It's a short thing. It's only about 3-4 minutes, but it's worth a watch because it really at the time gave you an idea of what the locker room was thinking and feeling, and and their assurance that it's going to continue on just the way it has been.
Yeah, it definitely was a shock. Because at first when that press release came out, a bunch of us were like, the wording of the press release sounded, well, yeah, first of all, what the fuck? But second of all, like, as you read it, you're like, okay, they're putting him over on the way out. This doesn't seem like, it doesn't seem like there's any hard feelings. Like they put him over, said what a great job he did, blah, blah, blah. So, we were almost wondering, like, did something happen that maybe he asked for, he asked to leave, like if he got a better job opportunity or something. Like it, the press release kind of made it sound like it was, a mutual agreement.
Yeah.
But then very quickly from the responses from the talent, we realized like, oh, this was a complete shock to a lot of people.
It was, and again, IWC going IWC. Oh, this is a work. This is going to be a story. This is a work. They're trying to rib it. I'm like, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, and actually, thank you, Chad, because that's another interesting point. And I'll pop his comment up real here. They heard, and that's actually true. Scott D'Amore was trying to get people together.
And I don't blame him. I
don't either. I mean, obviously, this man has a very huge emotional investment in TNA and wanted to make sure things stayed exactly the way it was. And he had made a bid, put in a bid to Anthem to buy TNA outright, and unfortunately, they refused. Now, I don't know if that accelerated him being fired or it was if we're going to get rid of the problem, cut the head off the snake and throw this whole snake away or what. But like I said, coming off of the what I saw last night on Sacrifice, there's seemingly it's been seamless. There's no drop off in anything. Not in wrestlers aren't just phoning it in because their boss isn't there. They're absolutely still running on all 8 cylinders like they have been. And again, for $10, I mean, you can't beat it. There's outside of the Peacock with WWE, I would pay every week for a $10 pay-per-view instead of $50 for an AEW pay-per-view. That's how, and I know they're going to be good shows, but it's it's, to me, it's a no-brainer. But
right.
Anyway, we're going over.
we're gonna start to wind down.
No, we're not.
Yeah. So the cock of the pea. That's funny.
I like that.
So. Kind of going
this
along.
This is what happens when you give me the buttons.
Piggybacking off of wrestling being at such a boom and like its biggest point in a long time. Even like so much stuff has become mainstream. Like even some of my coworkers are like, is it true that The Rock is gonna be at WrestleMania? I'm like, yeah, and they're like, isn't he old? I'm like, no.
Yes.
What are you talking about? Age is just a number.
Yes.
No, he's only 52. That's not bad.
He's the same age I am, and I wish I was in half the shape he was in.
Right?
I mean, at least he has two.
Seen what he looks like?
As I say, at least he has 2 legs at this point. But
he still doesn't have the most dangerous weapon in professional wrestling.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. And well, I'll save the obligatory AK-9K appearance for the end. But again, and that's a very great point, Deb, because you're right. Wrestling is it is mainstream again. It's cool. It's it's drawing in people, new eyes every day.
And old fans that haven't watched in years. Like it's amazing.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the biggest things is I see so many people on social media say like, they haven't watched since the Attitude Era or whatever. And what is currently happening is bringing them back and making them interested in watching again. And, I got to be honest, if AEW hadn't come around, I probably would have stopped watching there for a couple of years. Just because it was getting really stale at that point. That's why AEW was so big when it first started, was fans were like yearning for something else, because WWE just wasn't cutting it for so many people.
Right.
There were so many people that just stopped watching wrestling because WWE wasn't interesting to them anymore.
No. A lot of fans were turned off by the PG era. And you're right, up until AEW emerged and came on the scene, you have to think about it. That was about a 20-year span that you literally have one, sometimes now two generations of quote unquote wrestling fans that only know WWE and what WWE does. And it's funny. I mean, it's funny to me because those of us of a certain age, I'm old, but we went through the initial, I absolutely remembered. I mean, they found out real quickly it's not a good idea to tease me about it, but I was one of the ones that, you watch that wrestling, that stuff's fake. And then, usually when I body slammed them into a locker, how fake is that? But I dealt with that. That was my, and it's why, besides being the same age, I feel such a kinship with Dave LaGreca. We lived that was our childhood. That was our teenage years. Was is that one of them dumb wrestling? Wrestling wasn't. And then all of a sudden, and then you had the Attitude Era, you had the Monday Night Wars, and wrestling was cool. How many people, and you guys are younger and you can speak to this just as much as I can, but how many people did you see running around with an Austin 316 or an NWO shirt or a DX shirt? How many of us?
The Rock.
Hi, that's me. Had to go spend time in the principal's office because you're telling everybody to suck it and crotch chopping everybody.
I didn't watch wrestling back then, but I do distinctly remember kids at school wearing, the Rock t-shirts and doing the DX stuff and all that. I very distinctly remember that when we were kids. I didn't start watching till like Ruthless Aggression era when I was an adult for the most part. But yeah, I mean, I only started watching because my friend Jake, shout out to Jake, he was pretty much like, hey, if you're going to hang out with me, I watch wrestling on Mondays and Fridays. So that's what I'll be doing. And it really honestly took years for me to get invested in it. Like I would watch every week, the whole friend group would hang out at Jake's house pretty much every night. And when wrestling was on, we put wrestling on. And, thanks Chad for calling me old.
I am old. I don't give a damn. It took me how long?
No, he called me old, not you. You are old.
I am old. And I'm damn proud of it. You know how much shit I went through to get this old?
You survived ECW arena, damn it. Yeah. But no, like I really, honestly, for real, the first episode of Monday Night Raw I ever saw was the episode when Benoit died. Like that was literally the first ever episode I watched. And I had no idea what was happening.
That's a hell of a way to jump in. But,
right? Yeah. But yeah, it took me years to get invested as a fan and really like fully enjoy it. And it wasn't until honestly I started listening to Busted Open that I really became a super fan in that sense, that I'm
and I find it's interesting, Deb, because you talking about how it took you years to get invested in the wrestling. Was there a particular match? Was there a particular wrestler that got you hooked into wrestling? Because that's very interesting coming from you being a very young fan.
And I remember we always made fun of Jake for his undying love of John Cena.
It's our truth.
There wasn't really any particular match or show or person that got me into it. I think it was just like, I honestly think it was just repeated exposure. that I watched it for so long. Eventually I got into it. There wasn't any one particular thing, and I am so terrible at remembering like certain specific matches or specific shows. I'm so bad at that. I do not have a memory like you, Steven.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we have a Steven. That's why because
I am so bad at that.
I was at events, and he tells me more about the events than I was there. I was live,
right?
And he tells me more because I mean, I've been hitting the head a lot. I'm a 23 year iron.
You've been hitting the head a lot. You were in the audience at ECW Arena.
Well, that's
he's hardcore. He's hardcore.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
But and Steve, thank God for Steven, because I wouldn't remember half the shit that he does, and he reminds me of it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's
seriously.
But but the whole thing is, and we're even seeing it now. Back in the Attitude Era, you had your Rock, your Stone Cold, your Triple H later on, the birth and the emergence of the Undertaker, and now it's I don't want to say it's come back around, but it's back in an even bigger way now. I mean, how many times, how many Cody Rhodes t-shirts do you just see out and about your normal day? I see a bunch of them.
Dude, I have like 7 Cody Rhodes
t-shirts. Right. And even before that, I can say, dude, is there anybody I don't know that does not own a Bullet Club shirt of some kind?
Right.
And shout out, shout out to Neil, who has like 2 dozen
type shirt.
Well, go see Neil because he has like 2 dozen of them.
Yes.
He has
I know Seth has a couple Bullet Club type shirts.
I have a Bullet Club t-shirt.
I know Ezra has a Bullet Club type shirt.
Right, but the whole thing is, and again, why does everybody have Bullet Club t-shirts? Because they sold them at Hot Topic.
For real.
That don't tell you that wrestling, has really come back into the mainstream.
Yeah.
When you got stuff being sold at Hot Topic and the amount of money that they made off of that, and that was huge then. Now, it's now
WWE's partnered with Fanatics for all their merch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. Now they can soak me for $100 for a WWE shirt. Just
Don't
like
even
they try for a
get me started.
Jersey.
Don't even get me started on that. Speaking of, WrestleMania weekend has gotten so big with all the indie shows and all the other events. It's like impossible to explain WrestleMania weekend to someone who knows nothing about wrestling. Like I tried to say to my coworkers, like, imagine if like the Super Bowl happened in where was the last Super Bowl? Vegas, was it?
Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas. Yeah. But again, memory, terrible. Super Bowl happened in Vegas. So imagine the Super Bowl's happening in Vegas. And for like an entire week, like several days before and several days after the Super Bowl happens, like every minor football team, league, whatever in the entire country congregates in that city and just puts on game after game after game after game after game. Like it's bonkers to people. Like non-wrestling fans just can't comprehend, and it's so difficult to explain that you have WrestleMania, but there's also 1,000 other shows and events happening in and around that area on that extended weekend. It's just insane.
This is professional wrestling Super Bowl weekend. It is a celebration of all things wrestling, not just WWE, but like you guys have talked about, and like we've talked about, the independent scene. Everybody is working in Mania weekends, basically. It's just, it's unbelievable how this has become such a global phenomenon, in one city every WrestleMania. Like, let's say if WrestleMania is going to be let's say it's going to be in Chicago. That means every indie event, every pay-per-view or, independent show is going to be in Chicago. I mean, it's just, it's crazy how this has become such a global event. And I'm trying to remember even when this started happening, because I know it goes back even a decade, probably 10, 15 years ago when this was becoming a thing, slowly but surely. But it's really hit its mark.
And at that time, I was so unaware of it because it wasn't until the last 5 years or so that I really got kind of like clued into the wrestling world outside of WWE. Yeah. It's just crazy. The only other thing, the only other like analogy I could use for anyone who knows anything about the English soccer system and how the soccer system works in England, for anybody that's a fan of the Premier League and all the other leagues. Imagine if when the finals of the Premiership is happening, like every other of like there's like 1,000 soccer leagues in England. Yes. For such a small country, they have so many in soccer teams. Imagine if all those leagues and all those teams were putting on their own games and their own shows and meet and greet conventions and just parties and all this kind of stuff just surrounding the finals of the Premiership. It's just bonkers. Yeah. It doesn't even make sense.
I mean, we've seen music artists, over the years that have done anniversary stuff or special events, in their career. But this is wrestling. This is the annual global event every single year. It doesn't matter what city and what state it is. It could be California. It could be Texas. It could be, it could be anywhere, and it's just, it's amazing how every wrestling company comes together to celebrate together. I mean, I can't even think of any other global entertainment conglomerate other than professional wrestling that does this, because football fans come together, and celebrate, the Super Bowl and stuff like that. But still, it's one game. This is wrestling where multiple events are happening.
Yeah, that fake stuff. That's fake. Yeah, they're estimating anywhere from 100 to 200,000 people coming to the Philadelphia area.
The economy, if it's not already booming to begin with, it's going to be booming definitely.
Oh my God.
And a quick PSA for all of you that are coming to the Philadelphia area. You may or may not be familiar with the old show Parking Wars on when it was on TV. Dude, do not fuck around with the Philadelphia Parking Authority. You will lose. Read the signs, know where you're parking. If not, dude, they will you think carjackers are bad. They will straight up tow your shit, lock it in the yard, and you will pay heavy, heavy money to get your vehicle back.
My little brother had to deal with the Philadelphia Parking Authority recently, not because of that, but because there was construction on his block and his car was moved by the people doing construction. Like, apparently they're allowed to just move people's cars out of the way.
Yep.
And he literally couldn't find his car.
Yeah.
Had a whole group of friends searching like a 10-mile radius from his apartment trying to find his car.
Man, Philly, there's certain parts of things about Philly, man, they don't play. And especially this, because they know there are going to be so many people coming in this area that have no clue of what Philly is like. And trust me, everybody making money. Everybody
luckily I told my little brother a while ago that expect traffic to be unusually stupid that weekend. He already had a planned vacation, so he won't be there that weekend. He won't be home.
Smart move. Well, I can't tell you how many people
man
I know.
In town.
There's a lot of people I know and work with that are saying the exact same thing. I'm going to the shore that weekend.
Yeah.
They're leaving like Thursday.
Like if you're not aware and you don't know, just imagine what it would be like for a normal person. Like, they're going to be heading into work on Thursday or Friday morning going, what? Why is there so much traffic?
Yes.
More than usual. Traffic on a daily basis in Philly is the worst.
It's terrible. It absolutely sucks. There's nothing like it. And this is a guy that's worked in the Philly area for 23 years. There's no such thing as an easy traffic day.
Yeah, 95 is going to be piled up pretty bad. It's gonna be bad.
Terrible.
And just again, as a quick public service announcement, yes, my intimate local knowledge and ways of getting around things and getting to things is available for a nominal fee. I do take Cash App, Venmo, straight up folding money in my hand. I will get you where you need to go, but you ain't gonna get it for free.
Yeah. So speaking of that weekend, our plans are starting to come together.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously we will be at the Busted Open Party Saturday afternoon at the ECW Arena. That is going to be crazy. It's going to be a fun time. Anybody else who's going, let us know if you'll be there. We'll at least try to say hi. We love to meet new people. I know we're also planning on staying at the ECW Arena for their WrestleMania watch party Saturday night and Sunday night. Cover charge is only $5 and it's going to an animal charity. So why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
$5 to get into the party. We're gonna watch WrestleMania from the ECW Arena, and they've said there's gonna be surprise appearances from people and stuff. So it's gonna be a fun time. So that's what we've got planned. I know and the Battleground. We're going to be spending our whole weekend at the ECW
Arena.
Friday evening is Battleground tribute to the Extreme. Team 3D, Bully and Devon are going against Onita and a mystery partner. And a whole amazing card of other matches highlighting ECW OGs. So that's going to be absolutely freaking insane. I can't wait. We're going to be spending like 3 days straight at the ECW right now.
Welcome to my 20s. Thank you.
Right. Right.
Well, what do we got here? We got these wrestling fans in a bingo hall watching WrestleMania.
Listen, and just to piggyback on what Deb said real quick, and this might be a little bit of a PSA. I know I have a bunch of them tonight, and I'll try to stop. But one last thing. The greatest quote, and I still to this day cannot remember who said it or when or anything, but if you're looking for people, I have extensive history with the ECW Arena. I was there when it was still Eastern Championship Wrestling and that building. The greatest quote I ever heard about it, when I try to explain to people what it was like or what it is like, it's a bingo hall that became a shrine and where misfits became legends and icons. That's the best description. And I feel bad that I can't credit whoever I heard that from.
It's a great quote.
And that's exactly what it is. And especially with Heyman in Philadelphia, going into the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Regardless, and we can probably spend another hour debating who should or shouldn't be inducting Paul, all that. Just for the fact that he is going in, and to be 100% honest, my hot take, I'm surprised Paul agreed to it, because that's not anything.
We know in the past he has turned it down.
Yes, and that's not his MO. But for the fact that they're doing it in Philadelphia, that crowd at Wells Fargo that night, regardless of who else they induct, and the inductees we have so far are absolutely deserving, in Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham as U.S. Express, and the legendary Bull Nakano absolutely deserve all their flowers. But you are literally going to see and hear the roof of the Wells Fargo come the fuck off of that place when they announce Heyman's name. That and say what you want with them, good, bad, indifferent. When you talk about a Philadelphia legend and a guy not even unlike that other quote unquote Philadelphia legend that's not from Philadelphia, Rocky Balboa. Paul Heyman still is revered in this city. He is an absolute legend, hero, icon to Philadelphia, and what he did in a shitty bingo hall in a fucking demilitarized zone in South Philadelphia.
You thought, John, it
really is such a weird spot in Philly. Like, there's storage units across the street.
You have a beautiful panoramic view of the overpass for 95.
Yeah.
You thought Heyman was a wreck at One Night Stand 2005 in his shoot promo? Oh, baby.
Yeah.
His speech at the Hall of Fame is going to be legendary.
Yes, absolutely. I am so looking forward to it. I have to make sure somehow I'm probably going to be running out of the ECW arena after the Tribute to Extreme show to get to someplace where I can watch the Hall of Fame on Peacock, because I have to see Paul's speech. Absolutely. It's a stamp. And on just a quick personal note with that, it's when no one was I'm a grown ass man, and I have no qualm saying when the Dudley Boys were announced to be inducted, when Bubba and D-Bomb were being inducted, I shed tears, because this was something I was part of. It was an integral part of my life for about 10 years. Yeah. And for the fact that one of my guys made it, and I looked, and I remember distinctly when they were showing Tommy Dreamer in the crowd at their acceptance speech, and he is sitting there crying and blubbering like a baby. And I'm like, I am right there with you, Tommy, just because, and like Tommy said, one of our guys made it. And now that the guy is making it, I'm going to be a mess. I already warned my daughter, because she's coming up to spend WrestleMania weekend with us. And I'm like, during this, I'm going to be a mess. Don't look at me. You laugh at me. I don't care. You understand. And that's the coolest thing about me this weekend, besides seeing all of us and we all get together, is my daughter doesn't know any of this part of me. She knows I've been a wrestling fan and all that. But all this really happened before she was born. She's only 24. So she has no idea. And for the fact that I get to show her and spend time with her in a place that's so very special to me, with people who are so very special to me, and giving her the tour and telling her, this is what, happened here. And this is what, and I hate to say, because it is, they really made it look very nice now. It does, but it's still, regardless of how much they fix it up, it's still the ECW arena.
You could see it in the floor, and you could see it in the floor. You can see 6 layers of chipped away paints. You could see it when you go into the men's bathroom and look at that mural. You feel the history. You feel it. You do.
At least now it smells better. Honestly, it does. It smells better. And I still contest in this age of gender neutral bathrooms and etc., that it is the only place anywhere that a woman can walk into the men's room and nobody says a word. Nobody bats an eye.
We walk right in there.
Yes.
What's up, gentlemen? I'm just taking a picture. It's okay. I'm just taking a picture.
Just and ladies, and as Deb found out, ladies, if you do tend to wander into the men's room, because that is where the ECW mural that's so famous is, when you walk in the door, just stay to the left. If you stay to the right, you're going by the urinals and the bathroom stalls. You stay to the
you don't
left,
want to go by the urinals. Just stay to the left.
Just stay to the left and go
to the left.
Right around past the sinks, and the mural's right down there on your left. You can't miss it.
Yeah.
But all right, I think we proved the point. The front row. You don't have to be so unsupervised.
I think we can wrap up now.
I think we can. I think we should. First and foremost, before we do that, I just want to say a big shout out and big thank you to everyone who's here with us live right now and has been making comments and interacting with us in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. Please
appreciate every single one of you.
Every single one. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Spread the word. Let everybody know we out here. Not to steal from AJ Francis.
We outside.
We outside. We're here. We've been here. We're here. We've been here. We're not going anywhere. They haven't found a way to get rid of the shed.
And you're over there.
Yeah, and we here. But again, tell a friend. Tell 2 friends. Have them tell 2 friends. And absolutely tune into us every Saturday night at 7 p.m.
Do what we do and tell your whole family, hey, go on YouTube, go on your phone, you have it. Mm-hmm. Go on YouTube, type in Nation's Corner. You see that red button there, subscribe? Go ahead and hit that button.
Yeah.
Tell everybody.
Yes, absolutely. So, Steven, what's coming up on our Nation Sports Show, and how can the folks interact with you on that and with you?
Well, what's coming up on the sports show this Tuesday is we're going to be talking about previewing the start of another league NFL season, because the offseason officially begins on March the 13th. And there's already a lot of things going on, including Russell Wilson being going to be released from the Broncos. So he will be a free agent. And Saquon Barkley from the Giants will be a free agent. And
John Boy.
Yep, so it will be interesting to see what happens in the offseason, and it'll be heating up before you know it. And you can follow us on our Nation Sports Show on Twitter at Owen_Sports Show, and also Facebook and YouTube.com, both at our Nation Sports Show, where we are live on every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. And you can follow me on Twitter at Steven_Wyand, and I appreciate you guys having me on once again.
Yep. Comes off the bench and hits a home run. Thank you, Steven, for being Mr. Clutch as usual. Debhausen, like that the people don't already know, but for those that don't, where and how can the folks get with you?
That's So Debonair on the Twitter machine and the Instagram. And I just want to real quick say tomorrow is March 10th. Also known as Mario Day. So for all of us nerds out there who love Mario and all things Nintendo and all things, super nerdy, happy Mario Day. Next week we have Pi Day coming up, also known as Tony's birthday. Mm-hmm. So happy early birthday to Tony. And happy wrestling.
Very cool. Oh, click the link.
And click the link. Go to my Twitter and my Instagram. There's the link in the bio. Click the link.
She likes when you click the link.
I like it when you click the link.
Now power drive me.
Yes. 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 Yes.
I had to get that in there. I was waiting and I got it.
Stuck it in there.
Anyway,
God,
folks,
okay.
I, of course, am JohnInSJersey, and you can get me at, I don't do the finger thing because I never do it right, but it is at Twisted Metal Fab on the Twitter and the IG. Please, please, please keep an eye on Nation's Corner socials and my socials for my continuing series leading up to Mania Week with new and up-and-coming independent talent, because we always hashtag support indie wrestling and support women's wrestling. And hashtag Nation's Corner on location, and the series of interviews I'm going to be doing leading up to Mania Week with new wrestlers coming to the area, getting to know some that have never been guests before with us on Nation's Corner. Some of us who are new to indies and are new to this area. Some of them I'm talking to, it's their first time in the Philadelphia area working. So we get the perspective of not just working WrestleMania week, but their first impressions and first times in the Philly area and being a part of something like this. So please check them out. When we're done here with us, we have an interview up there with Lindsay Snow and Rantan Carlson that I would love for you to check out. And of course, we would be remiss, because it's in my contract, follow the exploits of the most dangerous weapon in professional wrestling. Oh, and a new one. Thank you, Brittany Blake, for joining AK9K. Recently saw her last week at a show, and she was kind enough to do it. But follow the exploits of the AK9K, known as the Ass Kicker 9000, on Instagram at Ass Kicker 9K. So for myself, for Deb, for Steven, and thank you all for joining us. And we will talk to you all next week.